So what we have now is the current application is 0 0b02, and we have authenticated using the master key. So whenever you change the application, so I'm going to go back and select the master key. So whenever we do this thing, the current state of the card, when I say state, it means before I selected the master key, the state of the card was um, the application 02 was authenticated with the master key. So whenever you change the application, the authentication status is gone. So I'm going to discuss the other information in settings. So let's say the create and delete files allowed without a master key. So right now it is ticked, and I'm going to select this application and create a few files here. So I'm going to create a file. So right now there are no files. Create a file starting from 1 and call this 0a01, and I'm going to keep this file setting as it is. I have a separate video discussing the file settings. So let's create a standard file with 32 bytes, and keep in mind always use the file size which are multiples of 32, because that's the chunk of memory it creates. Create. So I got application. So what we just did is we are able to create, or we created a file without any applications. So forget about this message. Probably should have removed this message. So I'll start all over again. Okay, I've selected the application. I got one file. I'm going to make create one more file. 2. So let's create a linear file with the 32 bytes record size and 5 records. So I'm able to create files without any authentication. What if you don't want this freeness? So I'm going to change the application so that nobody can create or delete a file without first authenticating with the master key. So in order to change this setting itself, see, the change of this setting is not possible without authentication. So I mentioned before you make any change to this key settings, you must authenticate with the master key. So I'm going to authenticate. Now I don't want the create delete to be free, so I'm going to remove that and say change. So I got a message saying that application key setting okay, but let's see whether it works. So go here, select all the application, select this application, and I can still read the file. See, reading the file is same as the directory listing, which it is allowed. And here what you see here is not the current reading. So click on read. So you got that, and I'm going to let's try to create one more file, a standard file 32. Create. Yeah. So I got error message, something saying current authentication state does not allow to do request operation. Okay, so this means I'm not able to create these files. So the reason is creating or deleting the file without master key has been cleared. So in order to do that, I first have to authenticate to the master key. Then I'm going to go back, try to just click on this create file. Yeah, now it's possible. So what we just did is, what we just learned is, so you can prevent somebody creating or deleting the files without the authentication. So that's what this does. Next we'll see the directory listing. Right now I can go here and hit this get file IDs. I get the list of all the files in this directory. So this is possible. It is possible because all authenticated. Okay, just start all over again. You don't have to do the way I'm doing here. You can just go and select a different application. So now I have got I've selected this file, and if I click on directory listing, I can see the files. So the current reading is this. So I'm going to remove this, and keep in mind, let's try to change and see what happens. If I say change, I get error message. Okay, first authenticate with the application master key. So this is my own message. So I'm going to authenticate, then change. Yeah, so change is successful. Now how do we test this thing? Because I already have this application authenticated master key. So I'm just going to select a different application, so that will remove the current status, then start all over again. So now I have got the same application selected. If I go to files here and click on get IDs, yeah, it says you cannot do that. You cannot see what's inside the file. So before you do that, I have to go and click on authenticate, and so I have to remove this message. Now I'm authenticated. Now if you go to the files and say this, yeah, so I can see the listing. So that's what the directory listing allowed without master key does. The next thing, the best thing to discuss is about the key setting changeable with master key. Let's see what's going to happen if I remove these settings. This will make your settings completely frozen. So I rather not do this now. Probably I will do this later. Master key is changeable after authentication. You can try this thing. So right now I can change the master key. So you can try to change the master key. Say I want to change this master key from A00 to something else. So I'm going to go here. Okay, the new key is E0, change. I've changed. So let's see what I have done in this keys file. So here, yeah, because this is sequential, it's a text file, I just keep appending the data at the end. So you have to take the values of the latest entry here. So this was the old entry, and this is the new one. So that's what I've done in my program as well. So I've changed the master key from A0 to E0. So what we just proved is I'm still able to change the master key. So let us remove this tick, and there is a scenario now. We have authenticated but also changed the master key. Now looks like I have to authenticate with the new keys, otherwise it doesn't work. Let us try, let us give it a try. So remove this, change. Yeah, I got some error message, something to do with authentication. So probably it is because because the keys has been modified now. Okay, the master key has been modified. I have to re-authenticate using the new keys. So copy paste that, authenticate is fine, and I'm going to change. It says settings are changed. So now when you read it, so this is the status I've got now. So the master key cannot be changed. Let's go and try to change with put the default value A00. Okay, so when you change the master key, you don't have to worry about this current key at all. So the new key is this, change. Yeah, you can't. It says I can't change it. So that's what. So now I have got an application whose master key has been completely frozen. So the last thing is this. Okay, let's go and try. You don't have to lift the tag, you just click on the connect. Okay, you know that um, whenever the Desfire tags are activated, automatically they select the master file. So I'm going to go, yeah, click on oh, something is wrong here. Okay, select. If you want to select different application, you have to go back and select the master key, sorry, master file, and select the application. So my current master key is this, and if you click on read, I can't read either. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, so I know why this is, why the problem is. The reading these key settings is linked to the directory listing as well. So because if you remember, we have uh, removed this free directory listing. So first have to authenticate, then click on a read. So I've got this condition now. Looks like I have to clean a little bit of this screen. Okay, probably I'll do that in version 5.4. So let's try key settings changeable. So I can always bring this back, I can just make this. I'm going to bring this tick and say change. That's it. I got all the values set to the default value. So what it means here is I'm still able to change the key settings. So what we want is, we don't want anybody to change. This is what we had, just change that. So when try to read, that's fine. I want this application to be frozen completely. I don't want this. So if I change this thing, change, that's it. So this settings is gone forever. You cannot make any further changes. Now what is the solution? Okay, what do you do? The only option we got now is format it, format the tag. Formatting will delete all the applications and all the keys, everything is gone. So I'll leave that to you. Okay, so let's try to change. Go back, select the master key, and sorry, I had to change. I selected wrong application. Yeah, here, and I'm going to authenticate, read. This is what I got. Let's try to pretend to change something. So change, no, it says you cannot change it. So the key settings are frozen. So I can always revert this back. So if I'm going to select the master key and say format the tag, it says I can't format either, and we know from the last video. So before we format, you have to authenticate with the pick master key, which I have not changed here. Authenticate is fine. Format, are you sure? Yes, everything is gone. So now I got a tag without any application. I can start all over again.